Hi everybody, and welcome again to my channel. You see, we have Jack back on. It's been a while since I've had Jack, so I thought that might be nice to have him. This time though, I wanted to talk about one of the videos that's going to be in the 2017 Regional Convention of Jehovah's Witnesses. I believe the title is You Should By No Means Ever Fail. It's the very last video on the symposium about endurance. And it's a fascinating video. It basically tells the life story of an individual who is now a grandfather. During that course of the video, the person that's telling their story makes a brief reference to a prophecy that failed, but does not cite it by name. The prophecy they're talking about is the prophecy that the Watchtower made that 1975 would be the end of 6,000 years of human existence, and therefore it would be more than likely that Armageddon would come at that time. The Watchtower does not mention this prophecy ever, because of course it failed. But what's interesting is the way the individual talks about it. He says that some individuals at that time had a wrong expectation that the end would come at a certain date. Then he says that in his own study and going to the meetings, he could tell that there was something wrong, that the Bible did not indicate a certain date. And he said that those wrong ones, most of them later corrected their viewpoints. So those are all interesting statements. What I'm going to do now is read some things right from Watchtower literature to help you decide whether or not those individuals were the ones that came up with their own wrong expectations. So I'm going to read things not just pertaining to 1975, but one thing before 1975. This is from the Watchtower of 1951, June 1st, page 335, paragraph 10. You will need a CD-ROM to get this because the JW.org does not have this. They do not want you to see this. Again, Watchtower 1951, June 1st, page 335, paragraph 10. I'm going to read the last sentence of that paragraph. It says, hence our generation is the generation that will see the start and finish of these things, including Armageddon. So in 1951, the generation that's really being written to is my grandparents. 3 of my grandparents are still alive, and they're all in their mid-80s. So that's running kind of short on time for that particular one, but they narrowed it down a little bit later. In 1968, 815, page 499, entitled, Why Are You Looking Forward to 1975? Under the subheading Adam Created at the Close of the Sixth Day, paragraph 30 starts, Are we to assume from this study that the Battle of Armageddon will be all over by the autumn of 1975? And the long-looked-for 1,000-year reign of Christ will begin by then. Then they make a cautionary statement, possibly, but we wait to see how closely the 7,000-year period of man's existence coincides with the Sabbath-like 1,000-year reign of Christ. Then it says, if these two periods run parallel with each other at the calendar year, it will not be by mere chance or accident, but will be according to Jehovah's loving and timely purposes. So that's a pretty strong indication to give you there that 1975 is going to be Armageddon. It will not be by mere chance. Sure, they say it's a possibility, but they heighten your expectations by saying it will not be by mere chance, but will be according to Jehovah's loving and timely purposes. Then in 1968, this is 815, pages 500 to 501, paragraph 35. So the same article. So the other one was paragraph 30. This is paragraph 35. The middle of the paragraph. This is not the time to be toying with the words of Jesus, that concerning that day and hour nobody knows, neither the angels of the heavens nor the Son, but only the Father. To the contrary, it is a time when one should be keenly aware that the end of this system of things is rapidly coming to its violent end. So does that sound like a cautionary tale that you shouldn't think that the end is coming in 1975? If you don't think that, you might be toying with the words of Jesus. So this is actually admonition not to toy with the words of Jesus and to believe that the end is going to come by 1975. Though it's not stated directly, that is the overall thrust of that article. So, again, this book is KJ is the title for that. I forget exactly what that means. Some of the brothers and sisters who have been there in the 1970s might know that. Anyways, so on your CD-ROM, KJ is the book, chapter 12, pages 216 to page 217, paragraph 9, under the subheading Until He Comes Who Has the Legal Right. Paragraph 9, the first sentence, shortly within our 20th century, the battle in the day of Jehovah will begin against the modern antitype of Jerusalem, Christendom. So again, this doesn't sound like, oh, this might happen, but it sounds like, yep, it's going to happen. And what did they tell people who sold their homes? That's another thing in the video. The individual said some people even sold their homes to spend their time in service to Jehovah, thinking that they had a date in mind. So, and he said that they were foolish to do so. I forget exactly how he expressed it. But anyways, what did the Watchtower say about people who were selling their homes? Because they were well aware of it. This is from the Kingdom Ministry, May of 1974, page 3. How are you using your life? So this says, yes, since the summer of 1973, there have been new peaks and pioneers every month. Now there are 20,394 regular and special pioneers in the United States, an all-time peak. That is 5,190 more than there were in February of 1973, a 34% increase. Does this not warm our hearts? Reports are heard of brothers selling their homes and property and planning to finish out the rest of their days in this old system in the pioneer service. Certainly, this is a fine way to spend the short time remaining before the wicked world's end. So the society, the Watchtower, was commending people who were selling their homes running up to 1975. And the thrust here, it was basically encouraging other people to do so by commending those who had done so. So let's move to 1974. This is from an Awake, November 8th, page 11. Is this the time to have children? It says, today there is a great crowd of people who are confident that a destruction of even greater magnitude is now imminent. The evidence is that Jesus' prophecy will shortly have a major fulfillment upon this entire system of things. This has been a major factor in influencing many couples to decide not to have children at this time. They have chosen to remain childless so that they would be less encumbered to carry out the instructions of Jesus Christ to preach the good news of the kingdom earthwide before the end of this system comes. So there in 1974, the society is encouraging people not to have children because the end was going to come so close. Guess what? I was born after 1974. I could now have children that would be approaching college age. So here we see the society encouraging people. And there's another article that I have. This one goes back to 1969. This is from an Awake, May 22nd, 1969. This is on page 15. On that page, it's the second full paragraph down. It says, therefore, as a young person, you will never fulfill any career that this system offers. If you are in high school and thinking about a college education, it means at least 4, perhaps even 6 or 8 more years to graduate into a specialized career. But where will this system of things be by that time? It will be well on the way towards its finish, if not actually gone. So, in 1969, they were telling young people that they would have no time for a career. Well, if you were of college age when this came out, you could be retirement age by now, if you take early retirement in the United States. So, very definitely so, the Watchtower was encouraging people not to pursue their own interests, but to spend all their time preaching because the end was coming before they were going to complete their job. So, when you look at what is written in the literature, the society very much so strongly indicated that 1975 would have Armageddon. And they encouraged people to sell their homes to engage in the ministry. They encouraged people not to have children. They encouraged people not to get educations based on this expectation. So now we go to the video where the individual in the story acts as if some people had wrong expectations. Well, where'd they get those expectations? They got them directly from the society. So the thrust of the message there is, if you actually believe what the governing body is teaching, it's your own fault when their prophecy fails. That's called blaming the victim. He also indicated that some people had sold their houses thinking that the end was near and that that was not a wise decision. So again, what they're saying is, if you live your life according to the directions from the governing body, you will make foolish decisions. And he again tells you, you should not be serving God with a date in mind. That's what he got from his own study. But at the time, if he told people that, he would have been going against the teachings of the governing body. So the governing body is actually telling you, if you want to have true teachings that are going to help you to live a sound, happy, productive life, you have to go against the teachings of the governing body. And if you do not do so, 30, 40, 50 years down the road, when your expectations have failed because you have believed the governing body will ridicule you for having listened to them and having followed them. So that video is pretty condemning. Many of the things that the Watchtower does, I am never sure whether it's because they're thoroughly indoctrinated or if they want to have control. However, this particular video I cannot view in any other context than being malicious. The individuals involved in making this video have easy access to all the proof that they know that they're not presenting the situation honestly in any way, shape, or form. And there is no legitimate reason to do this. Withholding information of massive failures that cause people to derail their entire lives is not acceptable. That is done in a purposeful attempt to coerce people into doing things they don't want to do that will further the corporation. Such, in my view, is a purposefully malicious video. It is dishonest, it hides the truth, and it presents those who actually were faithful to the governing body as being foolish. So, that's the Watchtower for you. Thanks for watching.